Hello there. So, it's come to this. I'm talking about the Hawk Tuah girl, which is why I'm not wearing a tie. I would not wear a tie to talk about the Hawk Tuah girl. So sadly, I know who the Hawk Tuah girl is. You probably do as well. I know who she is purely through what you could call the cultural osmosis of just existing on the internet, which is, as far as I'm aware, I've managed to avoid watching the original clip that made her famous. I've managed to avoid watching anything of her podcast. And this is the big news that has come up about her now, that she has been involved in a major crypto scam by the looks of it. So, for a little context, she's some woman who, a few months ago, I think it was this year in fact, was caught on a vox pop, where somebody's got a microphone, they're just going around speaking to people in the street. And she was interviewed and she just made a very vulgar comment about sexual fellatio, shall we say. And this went viral, and then, like a month later, she all of a sudden had a podcast, completely out of nowhere, completely artificial. Obviously, some kind of handler picked her up and decided that we're going to make this girl, the Hawk Tuah girl, otherwise known as Hayley Welch, famous. We're going to give her a podcast, and we're going to make it so that people know who she is, sadly. Again, I've managed to avoid all of this, but now her handlers a few months ago decided as well, we're going to give you a meme coin, a crypto meme coin. Now, I do not know typically how these things work, but I do know a lot of the controversy that are surrounding this particular launch of a crypto coin, because the first thing that happened, it launched yesterday, and the first thing that happened was the value of it peaked and then cratered immediately, which is very suspicious. People are wondering how this happened, and people are wondering where all that money went, because what it looks like is that a load of people bought straight away and then immediately sold. Who got all of those, who all got all of the money? Was this planned? People are saying that it looks like she was the one who profited off of this, or at least her handlers did. From the information that I've managed to gather from this video by CoffeeZilla, who is like a professional crypto scam investigator, it looks like a lot of people immediately bought the coin in pre-sales before it went live, and then when it did go live, they immediately sold it off, which tanked the value of the coin. And I think the way that it works is that in pre-sales, you can allocate certain coins to people, and it looks like they allocated a load of coins to insiders, because if you look at one of the figures that was brought up here, this is the chain of people, of sales on the coin. A lot of people just had coins that they had not bought, but were able to sell for huge amounts of money, and people are wondering, how did they get hold of these coins? Why wasn't it that they had to buy them? So it looks like insider trading to a lot of people. People are saying that they allocated all of these coins to friends and insiders. They sold all of these coins off so that these people could make money, and the actual handling organization behind the crypto coin was able to make a lot of money, millions and millions of dollars, in fact, off of the fees for handling and charging fees, etc., etc., etc. So the whole thing, shockingly, seemed like a scam. And I know what you're thinking, Hawk Tuah! How could I not trust Hawk Tuah? She was my main source of information. She was my only connection to the outside world. I'm here in my basement watching Hawk Tuah. She's the only person I could trust. How could she betray me like this? I think this whole thing is a complete condemnation of popular culture and reflects on what I was talking about on the podcast the other day, which is most online discourse is worthless. In fact, most online activity is worthless. If you are getting your lens and perspective of the world through watching creators like Hawk Tuah, that's a reflection of you. Hawk Tuah is low intelligence content made by low intelligence people for low intelligence people. And, obviously there is an audience for this, but of all people, it was Dickie Spencer on his Twitter account who was making the comment that, it used to be back in the 1960s and 70s when there was a lot more gatekeeping to the source of content that was released to a mass audience. And I don't think this is a good or a negative thing. This is a purely neutral observation. It would be that the smart people would be making content for dumb people. So there was a certain level of quality that you could come to expect from this. Now it's dumb people making content for dumb people. So the democratization of information spreading has led to this kind of situation where you get women like the Hawk Tuah girl, the Hawk Tuah girl, who is basically to me like a kind of Borderlands character, if you understand the reference there. Borderlands, all of the characters are vulgar, loud, annoying, they speak in obnoxious and absurd ways. She feels like she has been lifted from the game and put into real life. So you've got this kind of meta reality that we exist in, where the democratization of content means that people like her, who feels like a fictional character, can create very low effort, very low information, low intelligence content for an audience of like-minded people. And the thing is, if a lot of people have made lost money from investing in this coin, I don't really have any sympathy for you because you were a Hawk Tuah fan in the first place. Perhaps that's cruel of me. Perhaps that's insensitive, unsympathetic of me. But really, if you were watching this woman paying much attention to her in the first place, then I judge you negatively for that. I think that that's the wrong kind of content for you to be absorbing and consuming. But that's just me. Obviously, either way, if this has been a massive scam, people should be annoyed about it. But I think one of the other interesting things is the fact that she was picked up in the first place. So she was just a Vox Pop girl, got caught in a viral clip, and somehow she manages to get a podcast a few months later. How does that happen? I thought it was absurd when I first saw it. I know that the internet is an absurd place where absurd people can make a lot of money, but she was literally just some girl who got caught on a Vox Pop being vulgar. Why is it that she needs a podcast? Why is it that people need to hear what she has to say? And it seems from all of this that the main culprit, from what I can tell, is this gentleman here. So immediately after the controversy, after the scam was revealed, they decided to do a Twitter space where they're going to talk about what actually happened, why it's not a scam, why everybody else is just overreacting, and this is completely normal behavior on the crypto market, which it might be. I'm not a crypto guy. The whole thing appears like a scam to me at the best of times, whatever. But this guy, Doc Holliday, seems to be her handler. He was the one who was addressing the audience for most of it. From what CoffeeZilla was talking about, the opening 15 minutes of this space were him ranting and raving about how if you're a crypto guy who invested in this, we hate you, you're not our audience anyway. The people we were targeting were the low intelligence, low information, Hawk Tuah podcast viewers. Her audience were the ones that they were targeting in the first place, not crypto guys, which makes it all the more clear to me that, yeah, these are obviously not an intelligent audience, so therefore you're going to target them as the subject of the scam, right? They're going to be the ones that you're going to try and scam because crypto guys aren't going to invest in this. And there's been a lot of memeing about people putting posts up on Twitter saying, "Oh, I put my $35,000 life savings in this money, and all of a sudden I've got $2,000 left. You've ruined my my kid's college fund." Obviously a joke, people memeing on this. But there will be a lot of people who lost a lot of money over it, and whether I have any sympathy for them or not because they're Hawk Tuah fans, that is wrong. That is wrong for you to do, to scam these people out of their money in such an obvious and blatant way. But he was basically saying, we hate you, you're awful. But it seems that he's called Doc Hollywood. It does seem that he has some connections to Hollywood and to insiders, which is why he was able to hook her up with a podcast in the first place. This is an assumption on my part, but it seems that he was the main culprit. But one of the funniest things at the end of this was the fact that near the end of the call, this gentleman, Nick, was about to ask, where's all this money gone? Who's getting the money? Apparently it's going to some foundation that's going to distribute the money to people who, to the people who bought the coin. Very strange. I can't believe that now there's apparently a Hawk Tuah foundation as well. I'm sure they'll be doing lots of charity work. But he's about to ask the question, where's all this money going? And it just leads to this absurd interaction right here.
Fees that are being generated. There's an actual
Hey
source
guys,
of income.
I hate to interrupt you, Nick. Hello there. But anywho, I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Okay. I guess we're talking over here, and I don't know if, what the distribution is, but are you guys able to
Let's let
speak in
Haley
terms of
sleep. It's been a rough day. It's all good. We'll come back tomorrow, Nick. You know, we ain't going nowhere.
You
It's all good.
you can't
You
just
could
tell me
DM
what your
me.
salary is from this. I'll tell you what mine is.
There you go. So I'm about to ask you the important question, where is this money going? How much are all of the people who are involved in this scam being paid in the first place? And then she's just like, I think it's time for bed. Okay. All right. If you want to just run away from all of your responsibility regarding this, I don't know if she was the one who organised the scam in the first place, or if it was more this Doc Hollywood guy, who's the guy behind all of it, or this company over here who are the ones who are handling the coin. But this whole thing is a mess, and she immediately runs away from all responsibility, leaves most of it down to this Doc Hollywood guy, and then is like, I'm going to bed now. I hold no responsibility for this. This isn't my fault. It's not even really a problem. I'm going to bed. And if this whole situation isn't just an utter condemnation of the lack of standards that people hold towards the people that they allow to influence their lives, the content that they consume on a daily basis, I don't know what could be. So the internet, the democratization of information, is in many ways a good thing, because there was a monopoly on it when it was left to the studios, when it was left to the normal news stations. People like me, people like Carl wouldn't be able to do the things that we do outside of the internet, right? Because there's no way that a mainstream channel like the BBC would have ever hired me to talk about the things that I do. But at the other end of the other side of the coin is that it means that people like Haley Welsh, people like lots of low information podcasts that are out there, get to spread their information, get to draw an audience of their own. And sadly, because of the fact that it's targeted at a mass audience, they tend to get a mass audience, at which point they can manipulate them, they can mislead them, and they can scam them like this. So this, for me, more than anything, is a plea if you're watching this. I know if you're watching this, you're probably not watching things like the Hawk Tuah podcast, but if you've got family members who you care about, who you think can do better, who you know are better than that, and they watch this kind of thing regularly, please just let them know that these are the kinds of people that you're dealing with. They are immoral, unscrupulous, they have no problem scamming their audience. Try to get them to either come off of the internet and do something else with their time, or to just watch better content and do a better job of curating what they watch. Please, because I did not want to know who Hawk Tuah was. I did not want this to be a viral meme in the first place when I first heard about it. I managed to avoid the clip, and now here I am talking about it because she managed to get such a level of fame that she was able to do something like this. And of course it was with crypto as well, which I'm still very, very critical of in the first place. But anyway, thanks for watching. If you want a bit more information on the nuts and bolts, ins and outs of this, I'd recommend CoffeeZilla's video. This is kind of what he does. This is his line of expertise. So check him out. I wanted to comment on the cultural effect of all of this, and yeah, people should do a bit better on the content that they view, what they consume, and who they trust.